All right, everybody, I am finally back with a brand new DC update. I was busy this weekend. I was sick, but spent some time with family and have not been able to get in here to do another update. And now this video is going to be short. I should have another video tomorrow if I have time. I have PT in the morning, and usually I am wasted after that. But I'm going to try to get in here and do a formal update in regards to the Penguin, what it won at the Emmys, and the fact that James Gunn has been completely silent about it. It's who the guy is. I'll talk more about that in tomorrow's video. But today I wanted to focus on two things. I want to talk about the path for the Snyderverse to be restored. And then I'm going to talk about Faulkner came out, or whatever her name is, who was doing the Red Hood series. She spoke out about getting fired, and we're going to see what she had to say. And it is very eye-opening. And so we're going to take a look at that stuff. But first, let's talk about the Snyderverse. So as I discussed in my last video, yes, there is about to be a bidding war on Warner Brothers. This is something that David Zaslav has wanted from the beginning. And I talked about this years ago when he took over, that the whole point of this was to get a sale at some point. This is a lot later than I was expecting, but to get a sale nonetheless. And we had Skydance Paramount jump out in front. They want to acquire Warner Brothers in its entirety, all of it, not just the Warner Brothers aspect or the Discovery aspect or cable or news. They want the whole thing. Then you have people like Netflix showing that they have an interest. They have more money to spend. They're not in debt like either of the other companies are. Now, I'm not sure what Skydance, what their debt is, but they were able to buy Paramount, and that is a good thing. Now, I did a post on why I thought Paramount was a good choice. And I want to talk about that, and then we'll talk about the benefits of Netflix as well. I like Paramount simply because I've seen Paramount do some things over the last couple of months since Skydance took over that I think are very positive. I am a massive Dexter fan. If anybody knows what Dexter is, if you've never seen this series, it's one of my favorite TV series. I think it is phenomenal. I was put onto it by a radio host here in the Valley years ago, and it was a show that I binge watched, and I fell in love with it. And I actually have a recap of every single episode leading up to the new season, when they resurrected it a few years ago. But what they did is about a year ago, there was a series, I don't even think it was a year ago, where they did Dexter when he was younger. It was the early years, and how he basically was trained to become who he is. And that show was really good, but to me it felt like a one-off. But they did plan a second season. Well, they decided Dexter was killed in the first, the New Blood series that they did several years ago. This is a spoiler, but he was killed by his son in the last episode, which didn't set well with a lot of people, especially not me as a fan of Dexter. I thought it was a stupid way for him to go out. And so they did end up bringing him back, and I've got to do a review on the new season. But this new season that just aired was one of the best seasons of Dexter. Like, it was phenomenal. And I've got to talk about that in my review for it. But the writers came in, not the writers, Skydance came in and said, you know what, we're going to cancel the new show that they did. And we're going to go with Michael C. Hall as Dexter moving forward. This isn't coming from Paramount, because Paramount had already planned the second season of his younger years. But they said, no, we're going to halt that. We want to focus on older Dexter. We want to focus and put all the chips on Michael C. Hall, which is not a bad thing to do. I would prefer both, but I don't need a second season of that show. I don't think it's needed. I thought the way they did it was a one and done, although it could have continued. Great cast. I would watch it if they did a season 2, but I'm more interested in seeing Michael C. Hall back as Dexter. And the new season was incredible. So they're starting to listen to the fans and understanding what the fans want. Paramount also, they're bringing back, one of the decisions they made shortly after I think Skydance took over, is they're bringing back, why am I forgetting his name? The guy who directed the original Transformers series of films. And I found out he's like really hated by a big group online. It's not unlike what happened with Snyder. And so what those people don't realize is that he was not the writer of those films. A lot of people said they failed because of him. No, it didn't fail because of him. It failed, those last few films failed because of the writing, not because of the director. And so he is coming back to direct, which is awesome. They're starting to listen to the fans, and I posted about this online. And if they're bringing him back to direct and they're bringing Michael C. Hall back, there's no reason why they can't bring something like the Snyderverse back that the people actually want. They want those people back in those roles. And I know a lot of people are going to come into my comments and say, no, they don't. They're too old, this and that. I don't need to hear it, okay? If they can bring Michael C. Hall back after many years, if they can bring the director back after many years of Transformers, there's no reason why they can't bring the Snyderverse back as well. There's just no reason why they can't. Now, people were coming in saying they have destroyed Star Trek with all their woke stuff and DEI stuff and all this and that. And I don't know anything about that. I don't follow Star Trek, so I can't attest to that. But you have to understand that was with the old Paramount. That isn't with Skydance taking over. With Skydance taking over, there's a whole new slew of positive things that can possibly happen. Time will tell. Netflix, on the other hand, actually has the money to absorb. You've got Zack Snyder, who also has a really good relationship with those individuals over at Netflix, and he could easily come back and do it over there. Personally, I would prefer it to come back with Paramount simply because they would do physical media and we could own it, whereas Netflix doesn't do physical media. There's many films that are not available. And so I don't like the fact that they don't release on physical media through Netflix. They really should. And if they do end up taking over, that's my one trepidation. Outside of that, I would prefer Netflix to take it over. So there is absolutely a path moving forward for that to happen. For anybody who says there's not, you are absolutely wrong. In fact, I think James Gunn is nervous at this stage. The fact that he's not speaking out about the Penguin is very eye-opening. He is the CEO of DC Studios, but he's not acting like it. He's rushing a sequel to Superman that was mediocre at best. And they're pushing all this stuff forward because they know these changes are coming. James Gunn knows that these changes are coming, and he's trying to push this stuff through. All right, guys, what do you think about that news? Now, let's take a look at what Faulkner, whatever this person's name is, what they said about the Red Hood series being canceled. So here we go. This is pretty crazy. And we're going to actually look at something that this individual said. It says, DC Comics recently cancels a new Red Hood series after its creator commented. It's not the creator. This person did not create Red Hood. It was the creator of the new series. But after the creator commented on Charlie Kirk's death, and now the author is speaking out. What she had said, by the way, or she, however you want to talk about this person, that's your personal thing. I'm not going to get into the whole he, she thing. This person is trans. I don't care what somebody claims that they are. I will call them who they wish to be claimed. But that's each individual person's thing that they can figure out on their own. But it says the Red Hood writer doubles down on controversial comments that got the book canceled. What did she say? She said she hoped the bullet didn't get hurt, or that the bullet was safe, or didn't get injured, something along those lines. Now we're gonna look at actually something she said during this interview, and to me this is disgusting. So Felker Martin was asked to be mindful of the tone and intended audience of her social media posts. This is when she was hired by DC to write the series. They definitely knew who she was, what she stood for, and they told her to be mindful of the tone and intended audience of her social media posts, which she says she did a fairly good job of until the day of Charlie Kirk's death. It just didn't strike me as an especially hot flashpoint. This is such a loathsome person. Loathsome? You know who's loathsome? She is. If you're going to champion someone's death and you think it's okay for them to be killed right in front of their family and bleed out when their wife and their kids are standing there, you are the problem. You are, not him. He never advocated for people to be killed. And we're going to see what she says at the end of this, and it is a flat-out lie. She said, adding, I saw that he had died in the middle of spreading more of the bigotry that he spent his every waking moment promulgating, and in a way that he had advocated for others to die, and felt nothing but contempt for his life. I mean, This is a man who I've watched for years, and no, she did not. And I'm going to prove it here in a minute. On television, on enormous stages and convention halls, and say that me and everyone like me should be stoned to death. That is a flat-out lie, okay? You already had other writers of other books, and I don't know why I'm forgetting everybody's name today. Stephen King came out and made a comment about stoning gay people and trans people to death. He had to retract it because Charlie Kirk never said that. What these people do is they take sound bites and they will turn it in to say that this person said something evil. And I'm going to show you something that was being passed around. And I'm telling you right now, before this all happened, I had no idea. I knew nothing about Charlie Kirk. I knew of him, but I didn't know what he stood for, what he talked about. It was just something I wasn't a part of. But I'm going to show you how they've lied about this individual. So here is this full quote, and I'm going to talk about what the media shows you versus what he actually said. And I even posted this on X, and someone actually posted the soundbite from where this came from and said I was wrong. And I'm like, post the whole clip, not a soundbite. This person said, if you're going to use Charlie Kirk's quote, use the whole quote. Quit deceiving people to further your division and evil agenda. This was what he said that the media held on to. He said, I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term, and it does a lot of damage. That is the quote that media runs with that they show you. But in that same thing he was talking about, right after that, he says, I much prefer the word compassion, and I much prefer the word sympathy. Empathy is where you try to feel someone's pain and sorrows as if they're your own. Compassion allows for understanding. Very important to see the difference here. So this is what Felker Martin was doing. She was paying attention to the soundbite. She doesn't know anything about Charlie Kirk. She didn't follow him. She's making up straight up lies. And she should never, she needs to be shunned forever. I'm sorry. Those people that think it's okay for somebody to be killed for what they said are the real evil people. It's not the people standing up and telling the truth. These people will deceive you. They will lie to you. They will do whatever they need to cause division. And that's exactly what she's trying to do. She doesn't even know what she's talking about. As you could tell, that has me pretty heated up. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care if you like Charlie or you didn't. He was not spreading the hate that everybody said he was. They will take sound bites of everything and try to turn it into something it's not rather than show you the whole thing. I showed that whole clip in my post and somebody still posted just that little like 5-second video clip of him saying the first part, and they didn't show the rest, trying to tell me I'm wrong. How stupid do you need to be? Bring the whole thing. So this Felker Martin, she deserved to be fired. She should be shunned. Those people should not be a part of society. If you think somebody should have been killed for what they think and what they say, that's not their problem. That is your problem. Your problem. Anybody who feels ill will towards somebody or thinks, they should be killed. Yes, that is disgusting. For those lying about it, that's horrible. Horrible, disgusting behavior. All right, guys, so there's my video for the day. What do you think about the possibility of the Snyderverse being restored? What do you think about this whole Felker Martin thing with Red Hood and what's going on in the media? This is some crazy stuff for me. We're in some weird Twilight Zone scenario right now, and I don't know what's going to get us out of it. People need to show compassion towards each other. That is what is missing. I will agree with Charlie Kirk there, 100%. All right, guys, there's my video for the day. I should be back tomorrow with a formal update, and we're going to see how James Gunn has not been talking about the Penguin and how well it did. And I'm going to point something out about the Penguin versus some of the other stuff, because I will tell you right now, James Gunn stuff is never going to win an award like that. I guarantee it. All right, guys, we will see you on the next video.